Hello, my name is Brad Bunn. I'm a youth development professional. I currently serve at a United Methodist Church on staff and also as a teen director intern at the local YMCA. I'd like to briefly share with you my philosophy on youth development and also in youth development leadership organizational structures in hopes that I might be a viable candidate to be on your team or work in your organization sometime in the near future. My youth development philosophy starts out with making connections with youth and finding their sparks. In other words, Peter Benson of the Search Institute defines sparks as those things that gets us out of bed in the morning. In other words, helping youth to make those connections with those interests that they are so keenly in tune with or so much want to desire to know more about. And also helping parents or empowering parents and significant others to help make connections with their children through the nurturing of those such sparks, which could be music, recreational sports, drama, those types of things. As a youth development professional, I want youth to be empowered. I want them to have a voice. I want them to thrive. In other words, I want them to be engaged with their community or engaged with their environment in some sort of way, and eventually to become productive citizens. As a youth development professional, I advocate also for a servant leadership approach, which has three characteristics, the important characteristics or dominant characteristics of the servant leader, which is 1, active listener, discerner, 2, team-oriented shared leadership, or 3, modeled leadership. In other words, a servant leader takes into account the stories, also takes into account what might be happening through observing and listening with personnel, and also with organizational structure, what is happening in that organization. And then from collecting that data is able to move a group forward. With the shared leadership, the authority rests in all of its members, but eventually the leader is the one who takes that initiative to direct or to pivot the way in which that organization he or she feels needs to move towards. The strategic approach to organizational leadership that I advocate for is a team-based or horizontal approach or strategy in which allows teams to work together to develop synergy, which is an environment of creative and innovative productivity produced when coworkers collaborate with each other. And I've been a part of this type of work or atmosphere working on a church staff where children's ministers and youth ministers and recreational ministers, as well as the worship committee and teams, have to work together with each other in order to produce good outcomes. Well, whenever working with people, there's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be conflict, and the question comes to: how do you deal with this? How do you deal with conflict resolution? Well, what I usually do is reframe. In other words, ask the question: what part of this organization is this issue emerging from? Is it a structural thing? In other words, is it a policy or procedures? Is it a human resource issue? In other words, is there a personnel staff problem? Is it a political where authority might rest, or symbolic? Is the meaning of what we're doing amiss? I also take into account a coach approach to conflict resolution is: why did this challenge come to me at this time? What is the purpose behind it? And how could I do this differently if I reflected on it? Again, reflecting and reframing is my answer. Well, I can be an asset to your team and organization, not only with my experience, I feel also with my other credentials through training and education that I can be a person that could be on your team to provide a lot of knowing, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of experience to that. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon.